Okay, so I'm Swati and I'm a net qualified educator. I qualified my net in 2019 and today we will be discussing cell cycle. So let me give you an overview of what we'll be discussing over here. So first of all, we will be discussing the definition. Later on, we will be discussing why is it important. Why is the cell cycle so important? Let me shorten this up. Yeah, so that you can see the screen. Okay. Yeah. So thereafter, we will be discussing what is the cell cycle, okay? And then we will be discussing about types of cell divisions and interphase and the phases of the cell cycle, interphase, and how many phases does interphase has. So that is the G phase, G1, S, and S2. Then we will be discussing the M phase, which is the mitosis phase, okay? Today we will be discussing about mitosis. Okay, we will be discussing meiosis in our later classes. Okay, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and cytokine. That's it for today. Okay, so let's begin with the definition. One more thing, I will also be introducing you with what kind of questions can you get in exam based on the text. Okay, based on whatever you learn in the class, how are you going to apply it in your exam? Okay, that's it. Okay, so cell cycle is nothing but it is a series of events that go on, that takes place during the division of a cell. You know, cells, what are cells? Cells are basically the building blocks. Okay, you must have learned it in your junior classes. Okay, these are the building blocks of life. They are multicellular organisms, unicellular organisms, and in unicellular organisms, cell division is equivalent to reproduction. In case of multicellular organisms, cell division is equivalent to growth. It is equivalent to growth. Okay, so let's begin. Cell cycle refers to the series of events that take place in a cell, resulting in the duplication of DNA. Duplication of DNA, okay, mind it. And the division of cytoplasm and organelles. All the cytoplasm that is in the cell and the organelles, everything get divided between the two daughter cells. All of this process that takes place is to produce two daughter cells. The means is to divide. Why do we need to divide? For survival. You know, any organism, if it needs to survive, it needs to divide. Okay. So one more thing. Okay, one more time. Cell cycle refers to a series of events. So when a cell needs to divide, there are a set of events that takes place during the division. Okay, that is the cell cycle. Okay. So here we go to the next slide. Okay, what is the cell cycle? Okay, the cell cycle was discovered. Let's learn who discovered it. Prevost and Dumas in 1822 discovered in a frog embryo. So what they saw a series of stages of cells. A cell passes through to divide and produce new cells. Okay, what they saw cleavage in the zygote of the frog. Okay, this entire process where with the help of one single parent cell, a new cell population grows and develops is known as cell cycle. Okay, like we discussed earlier, from one cell, daughter cells are generated. Yeah, and the series of events that takes place in that very division of cell is known as cell cycle. Okay, so you can see over here, this is the cell cycle. Okay, you can see G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase, and the mitosis. Mitosis has all these phases. Mitosis is the M phase. Okay. So we go ahead with the types of cell division. So there are distinct two types of cell division. Okay, one is the vegetative division or the somatic division, wherein each daughter cell duplicates the parent cell called mitosis. The second is meiosis, which divides into four haploid daughter cells. Okay, in this resultant is four, but the chromosome number remains the same. Okay, so we will first discuss mitosis. Okay, there's another kind of division, which is a binary fission. Okay, single cell organisms like bacteria replicate themselves for reproduction, like I told you. Okay, this is the kind of division that is used in bacteria for division. Okay, whereas in case of multicellular organism, it is meiosis. Okay, so mitosis is the process cell uses to make exact copies of themselves. Mitosis is observed in almost all the cells, body cells, including eyes, skin, hair, muscle cells, all the cells apart from your reproductive cells. Okay, divide by mitosis. Only reproductive cells divide by meiosis. Rest all the cells divide by mitosis. Okay, so let's move on to meiosis. In this process of cell division, sperm or egg cells are produced instead of identical daughter cells as in mitosis. Like I told you, the chromosome number will remain the same, but four haploid daughter cells will be formed. Okay. It is also known as reductional division, okay, because the chromosome number remains the same. And the end product will remain the same. Okay. Phases of cell cycle. So, where have we started from? And where have we started? Cell cycle or cell division refers to a series of events that take place in a cell leading to its maturity and subsequent division. These events include duplication of its genome and synthesis of cell organelles, followed by division of cytoplasm. So, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि cell goes into division. Okay, so a series of events take place in a cell leading to its maturity. The cells get mature, greater in size, growth happens, and then subsequent division. Are you understanding? Because without growth, there cannot be division. Otherwise, there will be unequal division of the items in the cell. Okay, you need proper items. There has to be two copies of everything. You know what happens? Okay, so if your let's take an example of X. Okay, X and Y are two kids or two daughters of a mother. Okay, so if mother feeds one child more and the other less, say the mother feeds X more and Y less, so Y will be malnutrition and X will be, obese. So we don't want that. We don't want any sort of anomaly. We want perfect daughter cells. We want perfect progeny. So what happens? These events take place in the cell, leading to its maturity and subsequent division. These events include duplication of its genome. The genome is basically the DNA. DNA replicates. Okay, division of DNA. Okay, and synthesis of new cell organelles. Like I said, equal division of everything. Cell organelles followed by division of the cytoplasm. Obviously, we need cytoplasm as well. Okay. So human cell exhibits typical eukaryotic cell cycle and takes around 24 hours to complete. One cell cycle, okay, or one cycle of growth and division. Okay, so every organism takes a precise time to grow. The cell cycle is very controlled. It is very, very crucial. If it is not controlled, the cells might grow abruptly, which will cause cancer. Okay, so we don't want that. So this cell cycle is very, very restricted and controlled. There are also checkpoints and it is regulated, and how it is regulated, we will discuss it later on in later classes. Okay. So for now, let's know that in humans, it is basically 24 hours. Okay. In some organism, it is minutes, hours. Okay. So that is the variation. Okay. The duration of the cycle, however, varies from organism to organism and cell to cell. It is different for every organism and it is very particular. If it is 24 hours, then it will be 24 hours. Okay, it cannot be today it is 24 hours, tomorrow it will be 5 hours. No, it cannot be like that. It has to be 24 hours. A typical eukaryotic cell cycle is divided into two main phases, interphase and the M phase. These are the main phases. Okay, you must know that interphase is the longest phase, is longer than M phase. Okay, why? Why I will tell you, because it contains 1, 2, 3 steps, and M phase contains these steps, which is smaller. The duration of these steps is smaller than these steps. Okay. Okay. So over here, this is a rough diagram for mitosis and meiosis. So from mitosis, as we discussed, two daughter cells are formed. You can see. Okay. And from meiosis, there are four daughter cells formed. Okay. So first of all, there are two phases. One is mitosis and second is meiosis. Okay. Mitosis also takes place. Meiosis 1, meiosis 2. So from one parent cell, four daughter cells are created. And from one parent cell, only two daughter cells are created. So the end product differs, but the chromosome number remains the same. Okay. So let's discuss interphase. Okay, interphase. It is also known as the resting phase of the cell cycle. Interphase is the time during which the cell prepares itself for division by undergoing both cell growth and DNA replication. So, like I told you, you need to grow to divide. So, this is a phase where all the synthesis takes place. So, even when DNA is replicating, a new set of DNA is being synthesized. Okay. It occupies around 95% of the time of the overall cycle. Like I told you, it is the longest phase out of all the phases. Okay. And out of this interphase, S phase is the longest. Okay. Because it is the synthesis phase. Okay. So now let's move on to the parts. Interphase, what parts does it have? Interphase is divided into three phases mainly, but there is also a resting phase, a ground phase or G0 phase. Okay, the cell does not divide further. Okay, the cells which do not go under further division exit the G1 phase and enter the inactive stage. I don't want to divide, so I will not. Okay, it's like that. It's not necessarily that all cells have to go under division. Some cells are going to rest. Okay? So this is the stage that is known as quiescent stage, G0. It is also known as G0 of the cell cycle. Okay, now let's come to G1 phase or gap 1 phase. Okay, so G1 phase is the phase of the cell between mitosis and the initiation of replication. Okay, once the mitosis has occurred, okay, then the cell moves to, once mitosis has occurred, the cell moves to G1 phase. And the cells that will not go under division. Okay, abhi, I am satisfied with my division, so I will go into resting phase. I don't want to go into any further division. So I will go into resting phase over here, G0 phase. And the cells that are going into DNA synthesis will have to go through G1 phase. Okay, this is the growth phase. Okay. During this phase, the cell is metabolically active and continues to grow without replicating its DNA. Okay. The cell is metabolically active, means there is growth going on, synthesis of other things going on, protein synthesis going on. Okay, it continues to grow, provide nutrition for itself, you know, acquire nutrition. So you must be knowing, you must be aware, you must have learned it in your junior classes. Even if not, this is the class for you. Okay, so to even for DNA, you need amino acids. Okay, even for DNA to replicate, you need amino acids. Okay, so what are these amino acids? Amino acids will be created. Okay, first they will generate it. They need to generate. Okay, inventory chahiye. They need the inventory to come in. So they need material. So they are producing that material. They're taking up nutrition, a lot of nutrition, protein, synthesized proteins, and everything. Okay. And then we move to S phase. Okay. DNA synthesis takes place during the S phase. Okay. In this, it is if the initial quantity of DNA in the cell is denoted as 2n, then after replication it is 4n. Okay, mind you, in this phase, the number of DNA increases. Okay, not the chromosome number. The chromosome number will remain the same. The chromosome number will remain the same. The chromosomes will not divide over here. Okay, they will not. Okay, so the quantity of DNA in the cell is denoted as 2n, and after replication, it becomes 4n. However, the number of chromosomes does not vary. If the number of chromosomes during G1 phase was 2n, it will remain 2n at the end of S phase. Okay, the chromosome number will not differ. It will not become 2. Okay, it will not become 2n to 4n. Okay, it will not. It will be 2n and it will remain 2n at the end of the S phase as well. No change in chromosome number. Very important. Very, very important. Okay, this question comes in the exam as well. Yeah, you must have seen in NCRT as well. This is very important. They might bill you on the number of chromosomes during the S phase. Okay. The centrioles also divide into two centriole pairs in the cell which contain centrioles. Okay, the division of centrioles also takes place in the S phase. During the interphase, the centrioles also divide. Okay, but they will not move to the opposite poles. Okay, it will just divide over here. Okay, they will move to the opposite poles in prophase. Okay, now we move on to G2 phase. During this phase, RNA, protein, and other macromolecules required for multiplication of cell organelles, spindle formation, and cell growth are provided or produced as the cell prepares to go into mitotic phase. Like I told you, gap 1 phase, gap 2 phase. These are both growth phases. Okay, all the inventory is loaded in this phase and division takes place. Division of the DNA. Okay, replication takes place in the synthesis phase. Okay, and the inventories are gathered for all the processes during G1 and G2. These are nutrition take up place. A lot of nutrition is taken up during this phase. So we go to question answer. Like I told you, how will you apply your knowledge? Okay. What is the significance of G1, S, G2 phase of the interphase? During G1 phase, the cell continues to grow but does not replicate. Okay. Even the DNA does not replicate. It only replicates during the S phase. Okay. And during the